Why, hello there. Thank you for joining me this evening. I am Machete Eddie, your host. This is the Hired Gun Podcast. And we are almost wrapping this little son of a bee up, at least with my tour stories. So it was originally going to be 10 episodes. It's already on 12. It's looking more like 13. But the more the merrier, eh? That's what I say. All right. So to paint the pictures for the people who haven't been tuning in, from the past episodes. I highly recommend watching them, obviously. All the stuff will make more sense. But in a nutshell, I'm a touring drummer, been sessioning for death metal bands for a long time, and been through a lot of like weird shit, breakdowns, and crazy stuff. So at this point, I want to say I'm probably 23, and at this point, I've been like stranded in Europe, all alone with no money or phone. This is before cell phones. So even at this point, which was 2010, some people had some cell phones. I had like a little track phone, but it wasn't the same. I wasn't getting online. Even if you texted, it was like, a unit. So basically, you spent like $20 for like 60 units. So every text message is like, a big deal. So it wasn't like it is today. So if you're stranded in California or Germany or wherever the fuck, it really was a little more terrifying than it would be today, because it'd be a piece of cake to get help today. I mean, I could ask anybody to use their phone. So yeah, you need to like keep that in mind when hearing this stuff. I'm like, no money, no phone. Anyway, so yeah, my grandma's dying. My family's on drugs. We lost the house. I've lost all of my gear. The basically drug addict family member pawned all my guitar, amp, bass player, everybody's shit. The PA, the basses, the guitars, the whole jam room. So like my whole room's wiped out. I've lost my drums, my computer, my TV, door's been kicked in. Everything's just shitty. I'm not my girlfriend. Sorry. My grandma's dying. She won't let me help her. It's just really chaotic. So I've already been stranded in Germany. I've been stranded in multiple places. There's just a lot going on. And I guess now looking back, I'm like, man, I was only 23. I was a baby. But at the time, it seemed like it was the end of the world, So I go through all this shit. And Vital Remains, they're like super famous. They're from New England, Rhode Island. And Glenn Benton from Deicide did a couple of their albums. And, when I was 17, Dechristianized came out, and I pretty much changed my life. So they're technically one of my favorite bands. So like I leave home, they have a drum set. I don't need anything. So I go up there, and it's just like on paper, it's a dream come true, but in reality, it ended up just being like chaotic, So yeah, I'm up there, and everything's just kind of going wrong. You really need to catch up on all the other episodes. I don't want to spend too much time catching up, but that's in a nutshell where I'm at. I'm living in New England, Rhode Island, Pawtucket, actually, with the singer Scott, who's dead now. He killed himself on Halloween like a few years back. And now John Haidt, the guitarist from Houston, he's living in my room now. We're sharing a disgustingly small apartment. It's just like one room with a few connecting rooms. It's just like, I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like a just small apartment, but there's me, Scott, John Haidt, the goth couple, and their special needs daughter. So we got 6 people in this 3-bedroom house, and it's just one bathroom, and the toilet barely works, and she has like 3 or 4 different like rat cages that are disgusting and stinky, and turtles and all this like weird shit all over the place. Like you gotta like dodging when you walk around. It's just really bad. Okay, pissing in bottles, just the whole shebang. All right, so things are really shitty. I came in with some money. My boss owed me some stuff. He would like remember at first He'd just send me 100 here, 100 there because I had worked a bunch of time that he owed me or whatever. But after a while, I'm out of money and I can't find a fucking job, and shit was just crazy. So like, if we're not on tour, we're really struggling in between tours. So yeah, the last episode pretty much detailed the Pestilence tour that we did with In Full Darkness and Warbringer, Suffocate, and I just, as I'm telling these stories, because they're really like, I haven't talked about this stuff in 13 years. I'm remembering stuff as I rewatch the episode. So some honorable mentions. As you know, if you've been following, multiple breakdowns. There was like 3 different breakdowns, and not like done breakdown. I mean like stranded and the desert breakdown on the last tour, and there were a couple others. So there's been like at least 4 or 5 within this span of tours. One of the times, I don't know how I didn't mention this or it didn't come to mind, but because most of the time we were in a Durango. I think it's a Dodge Durango, just a little thing, and we just have a trailer. And then the one time that we had a van was from Luis Matos from Pinhead, and it ended up just like blowing the engine in San Diego. And we just left it on the road. And I also didn't mention that Warbringer, who's from San Diego, they come and rescue us, and then it blows their fucking engine. So like this place that we're at is like the mountains and the hills are just so fucking steep, so it blew our engine and their engine. But yeah, back to the thing. So we rented this trailer from somebody. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But basically, it was wired wrong, apparently. So we recognized like weird things happening, but then all of a sudden one day, okay. So we're in a convenience store. We're getting gas. Tony walks in. I walk in behind him. I turn around. I can see fire under basically the hitch or whatever, kind of like. And now I'm like, there's a fucking fire, So now everyone's freaking out. I don't remember who all was there besides Gator and Scott. I don't remember what lead guitarist was there, but it's like we're at the gas pump. There's a fire. It's dripping like plastic or something. It's like going tip 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 onto the gas covered concrete, by the pump. I'm literally expecting the pump and everything to explode at any moment. And we popped the trunk or like the hatch. We had some water bottles. Somebody went up under there, maybe Tony, and he was like kind of trying to splash it, but it wasn't working. I think I crawled in to unlock the door to hatch because I remember being in there expecting it to blow up, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm just trying to be a hero or whatever. So boom. Oh, I guess we had some water bottles right there. It's not really working. Scott rips off that little shit you wash your windshield with by the gas. He like rips that shit off the trash can and just like splashes, like he runs like into the truck and splashes it super clumsy. Still doesn't work. And then I believe Tony went up and like just pressed it out or something. So basically the trailer that we got, like I said, was wired wrong. So there was some weird bullshit and that shit caught fire at a fucking gas pump. And I thought we were all going to die, but we didn't. So honorable mention there. Another thing, on that Planetary Depravity tour, Beneath the Massacre, Faceless, Dying Fetus, I talked about it on one of the previous episodes. When we were in Salt Lake City, and this was trippy as hell. We were loading our trailers, so it's like 1 a.m, something like that, 2 a.m, or at least later than 10. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, the city lights up. And I'm standing in front of our white trailer, so I'm assuming there's like a car driving behind me and the lights are reflecting off or something. That was like my immediate thought for a moment. So it was like, and then all of a sudden I noticed the whole city is like, woo, like it's almost like a purple light. It was just so bright. So as it's a car. Whoa, the whole city's lit up. Whoa. Oh, then I see, bam, in the sky. I mean, this was all probably in the same second. It just kind of, that's how my brain, but basically explosion in the sky. It kind of looked like Back to the Future whenever they like take off and go to It's like, shoo, and then they disappear, and you just see like it was like that, but in the sky. It was like, shoo. And my first thought was a shuttle explosion or something because that had just happened at the Columbia or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's a fucking shuttle explosion. Um, I guess it was a meteor shower. I guess that kind of shit happens in Salt Lake City often, but it blew my mind. I thought I saw some kind of spacecraft exploding, and there's a couple people that were there with me, obviously, but that shit was nuts. So I don't know what it was. I'm just gonna say, meteor shower. Even if it was, that shit exploded in the sky. It was like this big to me, which means it was like miles long, probably, and it lit up the city like fucking daylight. So trippy shit, man. Um. So yeah, I also just want to like remind. I've already kind of talked about just like I just don't know if I've done a good enough job of. We were so broke and I was so hungry, like while I was there, and I was always looking for work. I couldn't find shit. But I mean, one of the shitty things that I remember is like I would text friends back home, like, "Man, can you please send me $20, Western Union?" Like, I hate to ask, but I just need some money for food. And everybody was supporting me back home because, like I said, on paper, it's a dream come true. So like I had my handful of people that like they'd send me $20 every couple week or two or whatever, and I'd get like a loaf of bread and the cheapest ham and mayonnaise. I just had like ham sandwiches all the time. Um, that really bothered me more and more and more. Like I don't know how many times I had to do it. Definitely over 20 times. I mean, but that's how bad it was. I was having to like beg friends and family back home, like, please send me just $20, man. I'll stretch it. So yeah, no cell phones. I'm broke as shit. Or at least like internet, easy access internet. I'd have to walk to the library a couple miles, well, to the bus station and take a bus, for an hour of internet a day. So that was like my one, and that was for everything. And let's see how much time. Cool. Um, so yeah, it was just like real bad. And so another thing I remember is not the craziest story, but it helps paint the picture of the way things were. We were at practice, and I think we were about to go on tour because for some reason I just have a feeling that we were like counting merch shirts and stuff, preparing for tour. But Tosh and Tony order a pizza, and like they know I don't have any money or anything, and they were like two pizzas, like eat all the shit. Didn't let me have any, and then this is like early. I feel like this is kind of early on too, but regardless, the point of the story is they leave, and I go in the trash can. I'm just like eating the crusts. They're fucking. But that's how hungry I was. I mean, like looking back to me, I was like, damn, I'm eating out the trash. They're fucking. It's pretty fucked up. At the time, though, I'm like just kind of embarrassed I'm even doing it. But in reality, they could have gave me a goddamn piece, man. I would have gave my fucking drummer a piece. But that's just kind of where I'm at. Shitty apartment, day after day, no money. No internet, no phone. I can't pretty much out of touch with everyone. Like I said, I have an hour, but that's checking my shit, promoting whatever I got to promote, looking, that hour goes by quick. And so yeah, it was just really shitty time. And on top of everything else, I was just really losing my mind. I felt alone. And I just didn't feel mentally strong anymore. I felt like every time something would go wrong on the road, now I'm like really fucking like snapping and getting crazy. Tony like is almost daily doing something that's causing me to like have to talk myself down. I'm like, God, what the fuck, because I left home for this shit. I'm like joining my favorite band. I'm thinking he's proud of me, or like not proud, but just glad that I moved there, and thought I was doing a good job. Everyone says I did a good job, except for him. So it's just an accumulation of everything. His girlfriend's giving me shit. And it was just a really bad time. What else we got here? Yeah, there was a couple like butted heads with Scott early on. I remember like I came in, like I said, my boss sent me some money. So like I had like $600 when I first rolled up in there, and he's like, "Hey, I need some rent." I gave him $600, and then he paid the goth couple and said it was his money. So for months I was living there, and they thought I hadn't paid a cent, and I'm just like, "Yo," So I had to confront him about that. I'm like, "Don't fucking, So that was fucking lame. There was a couple lame times with him that I'll mention here in a second. So there's things that happen throughout this process that like I don't really remember what tour or when it happened. Obviously, by now you can tell my timelines are fucking awful. But at one point I was on a flight and they overbooked the flight and they offered someone to volunteer for $400 credit for like flight bucks basically, and they would like pay for your hotel and your food. So like I called the guys. This was like early on. This might have even been the first time. It was like early in the game, if not the first trip, then like the second or third. But so yeah, I had this $400 flight bucks. So that was kind of getting me through all of this bullshit, was knowing that if I have to, I can fly home with this money. So somewhere in this time, like I said, it was a year and a half, I think. I don't know. This time, I don't know if I was flying myself out. I know, like, I don't know if he ever fully paid for me to fly out. We would usually split it. So anyway, one of the times that I was flying out, I'm getting on the plane. And like I said, we have those I had like a shitty track phone with, it's like $20 for 60 texts. And it's also like limited letters or whatever. And you have to like press like from A, B, and C on one. You have to, if you're doing C, you gotta be like, tick, 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 C, skip. If you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I had a shitty little track phone, at least at this particular point, because that's how I was communicating. Anyway, I tell Scott, hey man, I'm on the plane. I have to kind of explain Scott too, because like, especially when I explain all this stuff, he's a really unique dude, or he really was. So he was like, of all this Satan stuff, he was like really satanic. He was in a black metal band, Zircon, and he really, that I recall, didn't drink or smoke much. But he would like stay up for days naturally and kind of hallucinate. And like he was really into like black magic, and as lame and weird as it sounds, he like loved Star Wars. So he'd always like try to like do like Skywalker shit or the Force. And like he would talk about weird shit. He would get really out there, and he's notorious from where he's from for just being like a wacko, I just feel like we experienced so much that I just have a place for him in my heart. But once all this stuff played out, it affected him more than anyone. I mean, I can say with pretty solid confidence he killed himself because of all this shit. Because he loved Vital Remains so much. He was like such a big fan, and just bleeding Vital Remains. And I was too, but he had been there way longer than me. I was there for a year and a half. He was there for like 5.5 years or some shit. At least many years, at least 3 or 4. Maybe it wasn't that long, but it was like way longer than me. And Tony would never consider that guy a member of the band. And that's kind of the thing, is like when I moved there, I had this like vision of we're brothers now. Like this is a family. And it was just like from day one, it was like, ooh, he's like just talking shit about everybody. And it's just, no one seems to be tight. Half the members don't even live there. It's just him and Scott that live there. And he's just like always belittling Scott. He fucked with Scott all the time. Called him Scotty boy, which it's funny. And like Scott would take it. But like just looking back at it all now, it's like, man, he's never going to have a singer that was as dedicated as Scott. And I guess some people like Scott's vocals and some people didn't, but I thought he had fantastic vocals. And for what Vital Remains needed, I thought it was lower than Glenn Benton, and he knew all the stuff. He'd fuck up here and there, but who doesn't? So, from that, I can see that I would have never been good enough. And like, once it was all said and done, that was my thing, is like, I knew that I had put in every fucking thing that I could to help this band, to get the album recorded. I fucking moved there. I just put up with all that. Like, I was so dedicated, like, as bad as my life was, it was like, now my life is vital. Like, I was just like, dude, I'm the fucking guy. I'm moving there. Just like breathing these fucking songs. I wrote a whole album with these motherfuckers. At least like 6 songs. I have a couple of them on my fucking laptop of us just playing it live. But it's just a shame, and then once I was gone, it wasn't long before Scott was gone, and he was just like never over it. He would make weird posts. He lost his fucking shit. He probably started doing drugs because he definitely got weird there at the end. But anyway, I just kind of have to explain, like, he is a weird guy. He's a super intense guy. But most importantly, he was trying to impress Tony. He wanted so badly for Tony to like think he was cool or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, having said that, text Scott to say, yo, I'm on the plane. It ain't but a few more minutes and you're not supposed to use your phone anymore until you land. So I text him that I'm leaving, and he responds accidentally saying, hey, Jesus N-word is on his way. And I'm like, he didn't say N-word, he said N-I-G is how he said it. Jesus N-I-G. So I'm like, Jesus N-I-G? And he's like, oh, I thought I was writing Tony. My bad, man. Yeah, I'm just breaking balls, but whatever. And I'm like, this shit ain't funny, dude. Like, what's up? I'm heading your way right now. And he's like, don't you have a Jesus tattoo on your arm? And I'm like, no, I don't. That joke makes no sense. I don't know why you're even calling me that. And he just apologized and kind of joked it out. But like, if that whole fucking flight, I'm just like, I'm about to fucking kick this dude's fucking ass, or I'm about to try, I had that flight, that $400. I'm just going to fucking show up, kick his ass, and fucking leave. Or I'm going to be ready to. So I get there and he picks me up, and obviously I didn't kick his ass and leave. Like, we just stick it out. Just try to joke it. I'm just fucking, I thought you had a Jesus tattoo, whatever. So very annoying. So that happens. And then later down the road, when things are even more shitty, because I feel like that was relatively early on. Like, I don't think he knew me too well at that point. We may not have even been living together at that point. I don't remember the details here, but I flew in and he was supposed to pick me up, and he didn't. And I think I caught a bus. I don't know if it was straight off the plane or into a bus. I know it was off the plane. It was off the plane. Okay, so no phone, hardly any money, like literally less than $20. He's not there. No way to. I think Pawtucket, like, his shit was like at least 30-minute drive away. So there, I think I pay my own way, go up there, and like, now they didn't even pick me up from the airport. I'm stuck. It's nighttime. Everything's closing. There's no more flights. There's one last little string of taxis. And I don't remember why exactly, but I remember I think someone just heard me going, trying to figure it out, like, hey, how much to Pawtucket? And he's like, this much. I'm like, oh God, and I'm just freaking out. But I know I opened my suitcase and I had some like Wuhan symbols, and some dude, hey, you're a drummer, like, explain what's up. And he goes, hey man, I'm heading that way. Just I'll pay for it. Pay what you can. I'll pay the rest. And just get in with me and whatever. So I've been real lucky with, so many, just that situation alone could have been a whole book worth of bullshit, but like somehow things line up. But if I'd have been stuck there, broke, hungry, that last line, now it's just like 12 hours of just like, what the fuck? It could have been so much worse. But anyway, that was another thing where I feel like that was near the end, because I remember I ended up leaving those symbols there. So I think that was possibly like the last run between Summer Slaughter and, Cannibal Corpse, now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so all right, I need to bust through this stuff. I think that was the main stuff. Yeah, as far as before Summer Slaughter. Cool. So I'm getting right into it. I'm gonna have to make this a part two. So we go to Summer Slaughter. I don't know. It started in San Diego, so we must have done a tour. I doubt we never just drive across country, so we must have done a tour. Probably sucked, or probably just nothing special. We get the Summer Slaughter. It's at the Soma in San Diego, and like I remember this just having that like first day of school feeling, like just the nerves of like I wonder who's gonna be in my class type of thing, or just you just seeing everybody after summer. But it was like there was a point where like I went to the parking lot and all the buses and vans are lined up, and we're talking about Decapitated, uh, The Faceless, All Shall Perish, Carnifex, Animals as Leaders, Decrepit Birth, Cephalic Carnage, Vela Maya, Vital Remains. We opened up, so it was like insane, just rock stars everywhere, basically. So I'm not allowed to smoke, so I'd always have to sneak off or whatever. So as I'm walking around, looking around, I see like the Decrepit Birth and Cephalic Carnage guys all in their little circle, and they're smoking. And I'm like, all right, this is my group. And I had like some hash from Canada that I had gotten from Montreal, I think. And so I introduced myself, and that became the Clique. I think of it as the Clique, like from Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon, all that shit from WWF back in the day. But we were just kind of like the little outlaw potheads or whatever. And this honestly is some of the greatest moments of my life is hanging out with Decrepit and Cephalic daily. Not to mention all the other guys decapitated and shit. So many good memories from all this. But that first day, man, just sitting there kind of meeting everybody was really cool. And Lenzig, the singer for Cephalic Carnage, he's actually the person who named me Machete. He wasn't calling me Machete Eddie. He was just saying Machete. Hey, Machete. The whole time he's like calling me Machete. And I'm like, oh, I just never realized, So my name actually came from that. And then after all this bullshit, when I moved home, I started doing Metal Mondays at my friend's bar. So just Machete Eddie's Metal Monday. Sounded good. Did well. Shit went on for like 5-6 years, and the name just kind of stuck. And then also, it was the same timing as me coming back home. So I'll get there. Here we're doing 2 more minutes. Okay. So that first day, man, yeah, that was great. So first day, the Clique. One thing about this tour, man, was just the drummers. I mean, I just listed all those bands. So many sick drummers. Krim, who's pretty fucking famous now, Septic Flesh, and I think he played with Behemoth a little bit, Flesh God, possibly. I don't know, but he's super famous drummer, and this is the first time I ever heard of the dude. Like, so, it was insane. He's playing for Decapitated and did a fantastic job. 6'6" Samus was on playing drums for Decrepit Birth. So like I met him. Even the drummer for Vela Maya, that Sam Applebaum, I think is his name. Even that dude was fucking sick, and Vela Maya was probably the least fast and crazy band. Obviously, Lyle Cooper from The Faceless. So sick drummer put out the Drummer Slaughter issue. Drummer Slaughter. And there's videos of all of us. There's a cool sick drummer video. There's a mashup of all of us, and then I have my own. We all have our own, but if you look up Eddie Hoffman Drummer Slaughter, it'll pop up. That was my second sick drummer video. But yeah, I'm gonna pause it again for 1 minute. I'm not gonna be able to finish the Summer Slaughter tour in this episode, so on the final, or at least the next episode, I'm gonna finish off this tour and then wrap it up with the next one. But a couple things, because I'm already pretty much past time. What was it? Yes. In the beginning towards the beginning of that tour, we did I have the thing right here. It was the second show. It was in LA at the House of Blues. I think they closed that place down now, that particular building. But yeah, House of Blues in LA, pretty fucking crazy. Most memorable moment was so Steve Vai lives in LA, has a label. His son was a fan of Tosin from Animals as Leaders. This was Animals as Leaders' first tour, I'm pretty sure. So Steve Vai came out to check out Tosin. So I remember seeing Steve Vai in the crowd and being like, "Holy shit!" Everybody's kind of like, "Goddamn Steve Vai." So later in the day, we're in the parking lot smoking, and this like convertible drives by, and we kind of look over, and it's Steve Vai, and he looks over. He's got like the classic like purple shades, and he's kind of like, he looked cooler than I did, but maybe he was just like, I don't know, but whatever he did, it's fucking cool. Steve Vai did it. So yeah, so that was cool. So I wish I had the details for this, and honestly, it probably doesn't matter. I've kind of talked about enough shit to where you kind of get the idea of like how stressful all this bullshit was. But you know, at some point, Tony had like, I'm just gonna assume maybe cock blocked Scott or something enough for Scott to be like, dude, what the fuck, man? You know? So Scott's kind of worked up. I remember like Tony's driving and he's like looking in the rear view and he's like talking shit and Scott's just kind of like, I think it was actually more like, like all crazy or whatever. Because and Tony like, you think you're scaring me, motherfucker? I'll punch your fucking face or whatever the fuck he was saying. But I just remember it was like evil Scott face. Tony like, you don't fucking scare me, motherfucker. I'll pull over, you know. And it's all like just snapshots of like the whole night. I don't remember where we're at, what they were fighting about. I kind of just remember that moment. And whenever we got to the motel, Motel 6 was our thing. So whenever we got to the Motel 6, Scott just ran off and slept in the woods. So he basically just worshiped Satan out in the woods, crashed. We didn't know where he was at. He popped up in the morning, felt amazing. He was so like stoked that he went out and slept in the woods with nature and fucking all this bullshit. So then he goes into the whatever gig it was the next day, going to all the boys and like, yeah, I fucking worship Satan in the woods all night. And like, it's not an act. He really did. But I just remember he's like fucking crazy. He's probably didn't even sleep. He just, I don't know. The other bands were aware that like our camp was fucking throw it off, dude. But I guess I'm just gonna cut it right there. There's a few things I can mention, but I only have so much storage when I do this stuff. So that's just going to wrap up this fucking episode. But before that, you know, I appreciate you guys following me along through all this. Some of you guys probably jumped on at the end. But I think most of you have been along for the ride the whole time because the views were higher in the beginning. So like, I think for the most part, a lot of you guys have been checking out my stuff. And I do appreciate it. Because, I mean, this is all stuff I've kept in for almost 2 decades overall, you know, and it's been nice to go through all the stuff, break it all down. I know I may get annoying with my, you know, check out my shit, you know, new episode, watch my shit. You know, I don't mean to be like begging for likes or whatever, but I do appreciate all the support you guys give me. It's been really cool. So yeah, having said that, please keep on supporting me. I need those goddamn shares, the goddamn likes. I need you guys to just make a post here and there being like, yo, check out Eddie's shit, you know? And I don't mean like, you don't have to, don't do it if you don't want to, but I'm just saying like that would be ideal. Make a post here and there. And y'all need to check out Eddie's shit or Hired Gun, you know, share my shit, man. So, yeah, I'll leave it there. I love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm squeezing as much stuff in, you know, out as I can, but trying to keep it within 30 minutes. So yeah, next episode will be episode 13. We'll wrap up Summer Slaughter. we jump into the Cannibal Corpse tour, which was my very last tour. And that's when the things got really fucked up. So I'm going to tell y'all about it. Until then, I will catch you on the flip side, brah. Peace out.